Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the second edition of the Empower View. My guest today is a really good friend of mine, Mr. Justin Brady. Justin is a banking premier mogul over at Cadence Bank. Justin, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do there, how you serve your clients, and why Cadence Bank is a great bank to be doing business with.
I appreciate that, Gene. One of the things that I do here is I work a lot with small businesses. I help improve their cash flow through small business loans, what we call quick decision loans, to kind of get them out of tight spots. We were really involved in the PPP process, which really stuck a feather in my cap. I really do like to help small businesses, especially newer small businesses. And with that direction, I really think that Cadence not only takes care of a small business customer, but also the small business customer owners and the relationship with them. So a lot of times when a small business owner is self-employed, some banks just want just the personal business and not the business, or they want just the business and not the personal business. Well, I kind of want to be that doctor where I know exactly what's going on and how I can help you best. So we offer a lot of different incentives for small businesses, and it's really helpful.
So, I'm looking to start a small business. I come to you, you're going to counsel me on, how much I should be borrowing, how to make sure I manage my debt, that sort of thing. Great.
And one of the other things that we'll counsel you on as well is some other things that you need to put in place to make yourself successful. A lot of times whenever you go to a large market bank and sit down, you say you need to open a business account, they're going to open you a business account, shove you out the door. Whereas I'm going to start asking you questions: how are you going to collect payments? Have you thought about how you're going to scale your business? Do you have any business partners? We would like to earn your personal business. We can give you a free gold account. Anybody that's a small business owner, they're immediately gold status with Cadence. So there's a lot of things like that that we really do focus on, especially for small businesses.
Very nice. And one thing I've always been struck by you, Justin, is Justin's very friendly, very approachable, and it kind of hides this very in-depth knowledge Justin has of all things banking. And one thing I want to talk about, Justin, we're talking about small business here. You're looking to kind of launch a small business here in the near future.
I am.
Is that correct?
I am. And I'll tell you this, it's funny because I'll just tell you my own funny thing. I actually have my small business banking here because Cadence is good to do small business with. But I guess this a couple of years ago, I started working on watches, and as a fun hobby, it is very, I want to say, not antiquated, but it's a really old profession to do. And I find that other people that repair watches, it's like a small fraternity. I have a 92-year-old person that comes and sees me probably once a month, and we will literally talk about watches. We'll talk about pocket watches. We'll talk about wrist watches. We'll talk about automatic watches, quartz watches, all kinds of stuff. And it's a very good way to unwind after a tough day of banking.
No pun intended.
Challenging day of banking.
No pun intended.
Unwind. I didn't even think of that.
Very nice.
That's where my mind's at. But it's a really good way to relax and focus on that. I was talking to somebody this morning, and he said you should really get everything down on paper and have yourself organized, because obviously Cadence is Cadence for me. I'll always be at Cadence, right. But it's always good to have that notoriety that yes, I do fix watches. And the other part about launching a watch business isn't just, obviously everybody's in business to make money, but there's also that little sense of pride. I talked to a lady the other day that she said, my grandpa's pocket watch was left to me and it's never worked. So when he has a gold pocket watch that he got as a former retirement back in the 50s, and I know what's wrong with it, told her to bring it to me, probably 30, 45 minutes. I'll clean it up a little bit. I know it's probably an adjustment that needs to be made, or it's probably over adjusted, which means I'll have to service it, but it could be taken for the first time in 50 years. Like that's really important to me.
Right.
And that's the kind of people I really want to reach out to. And it's funny because when I'm doing banking all day long, I don't have the tools or the resources to you know, figure out how I balance the two together. And that's one of the reasons why I got in touch with Eugene.
Well, and tell about a little
So-
bit about, and I appreciate, you're going to have me work with you on your business plan, kind of your marketing planning, your positioning, and how we're going to go to market. What is it about, what we've talked about that made you put your confidence in me to help you out with that a little bit?
One of the things was the amount of, I guess, the direction whenever I wanted to go ahead and start doing this on the side. Because like I said, obviously I like doing it for the money, but I also like doing it because you're fixing something.
Mhm.
And in order to reach more people, they don't think about the watch that's sitting in the back of their top dresser drawer. But having a strategic marketing plan, you'll know how to reach people that are sitting there going, oh, I do have that. I do need to get that fixed. Or wouldn't it be great if that was ticking again?
Yeah.
Or I wonder if Justin knows somebody that can repair this more antique, rare watch, whatever. And we do. I know different people in a couple different towns that'll actually work on some pretty bizarre stuff. So that's one of the reasons why I think it'll really help grow the business, really to reach more people.
Yeah, and absolutely. And one of the things we will definitely do is go through a process till we really clarify your marketing message. And the reason that's so critical for businesses to do that is once you have that, that then drives the content on your website. It drives your social media advertising. When somebody comes to your website, you immediately want them to know what you do, what is the benefit to them, and potentially, kind of what's the downside if they don't work with you. Going through a process that we will go through, we'll uncover all that and really have you a strong, clarified marketing message. And then we'll be very, very intentional about the tactics we use. We'll measure those tactics, making sure we're being as efficient as possible. I'm looking forward. I've never worked with a watch client before, so I'm looking forward to working with you, getting this business launched, and make you as successful as a watch repairman as you are in the banking business.
Thank you. And one of the things too that I think is really going to help is there are a lot of people that can change a watch battery, but once you get in tune with somebody that's connected with other people that work on different types of watches and things like that and have a passion for it, I think that's what really sets that part of away from everybody else. It sets them apart. And having a marketing plan with you, I think is really going to help that. To where they start to realize, oh, I can't just carry my tag to Macy's and have them swap the battery, because as soon as they swap the battery and it doesn't tick anymore, you got to pay for that battery, and they're going to say, oh, it's broke, throw it in the trash. Well, it's really not.
Right.
It's just got a hitch in its giddy up. It just needs a little bit of a repair.
Yeah.
And you take it to a trained professional, they can fix that. And
one of the things that'll be really good working with you, there'll be a lot of emotional benefits, like you've talked about, that the clients will have. That go beyond their watch running properly. There's a lot of sentimental value that we will really tap into and bring that out in your positioning. And you're talking about this with a small business launch. You've heard me talk about, the number one reason small businesses fail is cash, but the real one is they're not positioned properly. They're not saying the right thing to the right audience in the right medium. And that's what we'll build for you, and that's what we can do for other small business. So looking real forward to getting that going with you, Justin. And just before we go here, you've got a lot of really interesting stories in your life. Is there just kind of one little tidbit or something you can share that maybe people don't know about you? Did you mention something about drums the other day when we were?
Drums? That was Blake, but
okay, all right.
I'm trying to think of a good one for you. It'll leave the door open in case we ever talk again on anything, but I think I'm up to card number 45 now. I've owned 45 cars.
Okay, that's another
45
business,
different cars.
You own?
I used to.
Different?
I've owned 45 different cars.
45. Okay.
Yeah, when I was in high school, I used to flip cars.
Very nice.
So
well, I know one of the ones
we'll
definitely have you back, especially as we get started launching your business. The whole thing of how you got to Tuscaloosa, we'll need to let folks know more about.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, definitely.
But the 45.
That's another 10-minute thing right there. And what I did when I got here, and gosh, how great is Tuscaloosa though, man.
It's a great town and booming right now, and it's a great time to be launching a business. Yeah, so
is.
45 cars, you're on your 45th car. That's very cool.
My Jeep is the 45th. Yeah.
Awesome.
So I think I've had 1, 2, 3. I've had 3 cars this year in the past 12 months. So one of them I paid $1 for. So
Good negotiation.
yeah, I think it was.
Does it run?
All parties were happy. Oh gosh, no, hadn't ran since 2008. I got it to run though. So
Man.
it took a whole lot of ether and a little bit of elbow grease, but sold it to a guy in Hoover, believe it or not. So came out of the barn
For
hauled
more
it
than
home.
$1?
Oh yeah, and
Very nice.
the money I had invested in it was what the parts I took off of it to fix it. Anyway, long story short, I still came out ahead before I even sold it. So
Very nice.
funny, crazy story.
Well, Justin, man, I appreciate you doing this with me today. We're going to be
Thank you
watching
for
the
hosting
launch
me.
of your watch business. And just anybody that's listening to us today, for your banking needs, you definitely need to check out Cadence and Justin Brady.
I appreciate that. And I'll tell you this, if you look at cadencebank.com, some of the stuff that we have there, you'll see that we really are small business focused. And it kind of makes it a little easier to launch a small business when you start thinking about how many different things that we have here, and having my side hustle, if you will, being something. It's, of course, I'm going to keep Bank It All here. So it just makes perfect sense.
Very nice.
But thanks for having me, Gene.
You got it, man. Have a good day.
You too.